Hi friends, this is Laura with Potpourri of Life. I hope you're having a fabulous Saturday. The weather, we can't beat it. Here in New Hampshire it's 80 degrees, but it's a little muggy for me, but it's not so bad that it's totally uncomfortable. I did wash a shirt that I needed to wash separately, so that's out hanging. It's probably dry by now. So I've been doing little chores like that, but mostly what I've been working on is I'm one who likes to repurpose things or to make use of everything I have. So one of the things I have done before I had bought this fabric, and it's like this is one side, this is the other side. And what I had done with it originally was I did make a tote using this side. And my husband complained. He goes, "Why didn't you use the other side?" I said, "Because I don't like that side." And he goes, "But I like it." And I said, "But you're not using the tote." You see how these conversations can get out of hand? Well, I had enough of it. I actually have enough still to make 2 more totes. I'll make him one with his favorite side, and I'll make the other one in my favorite side. So what I had done was, before we got our new office chairs, his other chair was just kind of, it wasn't falling apart yet, but it was kind of getting worn out. There was no holes in it, but you could see it was losing its character. So I covered it, and because, yes, he liked this fabric side, I made him a cover. Well, it was about 6 months to a year later, we decided to get new chairs, which was actually a good idea because in the office area, I just can't sit in there with our old chairs. So we got rid of the old chairs and got in some new ones that are much more comfortable. And so I'm really grateful for that. We saved for this. There was a sale, and voila, Laura's happy. She gets a new chair, but he gets one too, which works out great. So before I got rid of the chair, we donated the chairs. We let somebody know on Marketplace that, hey, we got these 2 chairs. They're out by the side of the road, and within minutes they're gone. So what I did was I saved the covers because one was on the back and one was on the seat part. So what I did with one is I made a new pillow cover, and I just think it's charming. Okay, I do have that old soul type romantic. I just think it's very appropriate. I'm also that one that has doilies. They're not out right now. He can't stand doilies. I could never understand. I guess he was just tolerating them. But I don't have them out right now. But anyways, he knows I like them, so he doesn't get rid of them. But I'm ready to take them out for a reason. But anyways, I made this pillow, and he goes, "Why didn't you use the other side?" And I said, "Honey, I don't like that other side. And I'm home more often than you. I kind of want the fabric that I want." He goes, "But I like the other side." I said, "I understand, but I'm not taking this apart." So he goes, "Oh, okay." So what I have, I do have enough of that other fabric to make 2 more totes because I made one initially. I'm going to make 2 more totes, and I will make one with his favorite on the outside, and I'll make one for me with my favorite on the outside. So kind of win-win, or is it? I know some of you are thinking, you get the pillow, and you already have a tote. Why? Just because, okay? I'm doing the work here. Stay with me. So what I did was, there was a couple of pieces that I didn't know what to do with, and if you know me, I don't like to waste anything. So we do have matching placemats. We have different stuff like that, and I make different kinds of placemats. I don't know if I have any right here. So what I'm going to do for him, I really want this side, but he likes this side. So I'm going to make a placemat with that, and I haven't decided if I'm going to put flannel on the back so that it's just one side facing up, because if I have it either way, I can flip it over, right? But I also had a scrap of fabric almost the same size with this purple that I like, that I've made a tote bag for myself. So I think what I'm going to do is, I came across a sheet that was donated to me that was flannel. So, and it's a color that will complement both of these. So I may do that just to give it a little extra on the bottom. Haven't decided, but either way, they're going to need an edging put on. So that's what I'm doing there. And then I had enough to make these large coasters. So I can make them, just leave them like this, but they're large coasters, meaning they are bigger than a mug. But you could put a hot bowl of soup or a bowl of ice cream, whatever it is that you want, you could put on here. Or if you don't want to scratch up a table, you could just put a bowl of your snack, your popcorn or whatever, onto one of these. Not a big deal. Trust me, I'm always trying to find ways to multi-purpose. Another thing I can do with these circles is the cord things where you can kind of like pull your cords together. I haven't decided what I'm going to do with these circles, but they're all cut. So what I've been doing today, let me put this out of the way, is as I took that sheet, it was a fitted sheet that I'm tearing apart. But because it was fitted, it has this elastic edge. Like I said, it really wasn't worn out. So what I'm doing, and it will be for myself, not for sale, because I would use more new elastic for that purpose. So what I'm doing today is I'm going through and I'm tearing out the elastic to make some scrunchies. So that's what I'm doing. And so far I've got some of it out, and it was a long process. And so what I thought I would do, if you don't mind, while I tear this apart, I would talk to you about some of the ways I work with my fabrics or some of my techniques, or basically how I prefer to work with things. Now, I love new fabrics. I haven't been shopping for new fabrics in quite some time. But what I'm doing to work with my time as I kind of go through my things that I don't want or I want, but they haven't been used yet, such as fabric. Well, as you can see, I want to use this up, even though this is old. I just want to use those up and make 2 little placemats, one for him and one for me, for like breakfast, lunch, or whatever. Or you can use them as a place to put a hot plate. These are kind of thin, so I wouldn't put anything hot on it unless I piled them up. But more than likely like a salad, just to kind of have a decorative type table protectant. So that's what I'm thinking about these. He might not agree, but I think he will. I haven't told him about it yet. So he's not home right now, so I'm going to just keep doing what I'm doing. So what I'm doing is I'm taking the last bit. I already took out part of the elastic. So I can reuse this, and I've got some fabric. I had made my daughter some placemats a while back, and they're beautiful. They're truly beautiful. But I have this little bit of fabric left. Now, I don't think she wears scrunchies, but I do. So I thought, oh, this would make a lovely crunchy scrunchie. How's that? So I'm going to be making myself a few scrunchies from some scrap fabrics that I have, instead of letting them just sit. Now, part of the reason, what came to my mind as I was working on this, was a lot of people don't understand and have never understand why things cost money when somebody makes something for you or when they mend. Now, I'm going to bring this up because as I ran my sewing business, I ran into the mindset that it's just a few pieces of fabric. You just sew it together. It's easy peasy. Well, it might be easy, but everything does take time. Just removing this. Now, because I won't use this elastic in somebody else's scrunchie, I'm just doing this more on a therapeutic of just getting this taken care of without wasting elastic. So, to other people this is crazy. And because it's been used, elastic, the older it is, it loses its elasticity. So I'm just going to use this. There's enough here that I could use in a pair of pajamas if I don't use it all in scrunchies. So either way, it's a win-win for me. Now, would I incorporate the cost of doing this? Because this has been taking me quite a while. I was actually watching another video on some ideas of things, quilting ideas, because I have a lot of things that I want to make some quilts for my family. They know I want to make these. And I have a few other people that I want to make quilts for. And the other thing is I saved all those scraps from when I was making masks. They aren't big enough, or they were not big enough to make more masks. So I saved them because that's me. There are people that save their scraps, and then there's people like myself that, no, we can kind of make something out of this. And more than likely, it's going to be a scrappy quilt. So I was in there, and I was listening to a few different people on their ideas and stuff like that. And sometimes when I'm doing something meticulous like this and monotonous, I like to refocus my brain so it doesn't get bored doing this little project. Excuse me. So that's what I'm doing. I'm kind of doing that. And then I got tired of listening to that because I think I listened for about an hour. So yes, I've been working on this for about an hour, and I'm not done yet. Now I want to ask you, if you brought a sheet that was brand new but you didn't like it, or it was reused a few times, you didn't like it, so you wanted somebody to reuse your elastic, would you pay them to remove it? And if so, how much would you pay them? I was listening to another professional seamstress like myself, and she charges just like I do. We don't charge $5 or $10 an hour. We don't charge $20, $30 an hour. We're in the $50 range. And why is that? Because we have overhead. Whether we work in a shop or whether we work in our home, we do have electricity. Right now I am using the sunshine, but I'm also using a fan to keep things cool. And sometimes I am using electricity. But also my sewing machine, I have to keep that maintained. We have thread. We replace seam rippers sometimes too, because the sharpness kind of wears out. So you see, there are costs that you don't see. Needles that we have to replace. And needles are not inexpensive. So when people say, hey, I want you to do this for me, I got a call this week where somebody wanted me to make a jean skirt. And in my head, I'm kind of like ka-chunk, 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 because to make a denim skirt is very costly. And personally, I really don't want to make other people a denim skirt because there's so many on the market. And by the time I make it, it could be the same or more than what they can purchase it for. And I'm pretty honest with all my clients. But I returned her call. Even though my business is closed, there are a few things I'll take on. And I explained to her my business is shut down. And she goes, oh, I was just kind of hoping you would work with me on a skirt. And I said, honey, I'm not doing any denim skirts right now for other people. I said, maybe down the road I might be able to do a few. She goes, well, basically all I want you to do is take the top off some shorts and add the skirt below it. Now, that all sounds so simple, right? And there are people that'll go cut, 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 put the skirt on, and it's done. And you know what? It really is an easy process, but there are some things that go along with making that. And you want to make sure that the fabric below is a good weight. And you want to make sure that the fabric is, a lot of people are making these with cotton fabric. You want to make sure that it's a quality cotton fabric, because if it's really chintzy, it's a good wind come along and that skirt's not hanging down, it's hanging up. So, I'm very careful about sharing that. So I know what my time would be. And as I talked to her, I realized she didn't want to pay very much. So I had to tell her, no, I can't do this. And I said, but I really, truly am not working for other people in terms of doing alterations and mending right now. And as I've shared before, in some cases, I'm taking that on. What I'm here to also share is you will be able to find seamstresses that will do things very quickly for you. What I have learned over the years of sewing, 22 years of sewing for other people, I've been sewing far longer than that, is that the consumer knows what they want. They want you to do it quick. And so in their head, they've already established how much you are worth. Now, just talking to somebody for 10, 20 minutes takes away from your hourly rate. Now, I realize that a lot of people say, well, that's not right. Well, I don't know. A lot of people charge, and you may not even know it. But think about it. There's some things that you have to do a consult for before you have somebody work for you. And that's pretty much what it is. Now, did I do that for free for her? Yeah, I was on the phone with her for about 10 minutes. And it used to be I was on the phone for a long time, but I learned, my time is being wasted by being on the phone all the time, unless I have a guaranteed job. So I explained it to her, and she goes, well, do you know where else I can go to get this done? And I said, honestly, there are a lot of people out there sewing. You might go to Joann's. Joann's has a list of people who are sewing. You can check in the yellow pages. You can look online and look for seamstresses, alterationists, tailors, and stuff like that. She goes, but don't you have one to refer? And I'll tell you why I stopped referring. Because first of all, people don't refer back. Second of all, people I've referred to that I thought were good quality, I saw some of their work, I got complaints from clients. So I no longer refer, because I don't want somebody to look at me like, oh, you just did that so that I would come. No, that's not true. When I was sick, when I was first diagnosed with Lyme disease, I had to refer people out. And that is their choice where they go. So I stopped. And am I upset that I referred out? No, because I needed to take care of my body. I needed to do what I could to get better. So now what's really kind of exciting is I get to be more creative. And in being creative, this is something I've always known, is that things take time. When people buy a quilt kit, nowadays they can cost from $80 to $180 for the supplies, and that's not including the batting nor the backing. So there's a lot of time involved. Another thing you'll see is people are showing how fast things go, and then they time warp it. And some of them don't even do that. Now, some things, yeah, you can go really quick, but they might not be sharing with you, like they say, oh, this only takes 10 minutes. That's what I ran into when I was doing the facial masks, because I knew how long it would take me. Plus, I also knew that I was washing the material and cutting them. And I timed myself just on the sewing. Just on the sewing. It was 20 to 25 minutes. It wasn't the placement. It did not include this washing. It did not include the cutting. It didn't include any of that. So when I priced them, and I did not charge $50 an hour, because I was doing it to help recoup my costs of where I was contributing to healthcare professionals across our country. And so I just kind of like, when I got yelled at, you're taking advantage of me. No, I don't take advantage of people. What I try to do is I try to give you a product that I myself would be honored to own. So, like, would I want to alter your dress and have it fall apart on you? I wouldn't want it to happen to my daughters, nor myself, nor my husband. I mean, shirts and stuff that he wears. But we need to understand that people who do alterations as a profession, or people who do sewing as a profession, and my sewing business ranged from home care, home decor, alterations, clothing, gowns, and stuff like that. And I have made gowns for other people, but most of them have been for my kids. And I've made a few for myself for like my first daughter's wedding, and I've made dresses for myself, and I've also repurposed. Now, in saying that, even with repurposing, things take time because you have to think about taking things apart. And now, would I typically tear apart the elastic and use this? No, not typically. Because if I'm making it for a fast thing, I wouldn't. So that's why this is for me, because I will appreciate the time that goes into this. Now, you know, the other day, and I'm going to bring this in. I wasn't going to too much, so I'm going to be very careful. The other day, my husband and I decided to go shopping for a new vehicle for him to get to and from work. In doing that, and we had to because the cost of repairs is not going to be worth keeping it. Our mechanic said, I don't do that kind of work, and it really isn't worth the work because there's no guarantee of anything else going wrong. And so we thought about it, we prayed about it, and we said, okay, because he doesn't want me to be without a car. Plus, if something happens to him, how do I get there if I don't have a car? Or if I have an appointment and he has to work, what do you do? So we went up to a dealer that had the car that he wanted. Oh my goodness, it's a car he's wanted for years. It was 8 years older than the car he has, and it's a truck. And so we went up there, and it had some other features that we were talking about. And I said, David, I think this is what God wants for us. But you know, we didn't see the truck yet. We didn't talk to the dealership yet. So we get up there, and we go for a test drive in the truck, and we're very pleased with it. We come back. We had some concerns. Our tires, because they're brand new, they're like a year old, look great. And the other ones on the other truck, we know that we were going to have to replace those tires within a year. Ka-ching. You're talking $1,000 to $2,000 on this type of vehicle. So, and then there was a few other flaws that we would have to replace that would cost another $1,000. So the guy who tests the cars, you know, as we got back, we saw him pull our rig out, and he went for a ride. He went around the parking lot, went, parked it, and came back. He came in, and he said to me, if my mechanic hears this, he's going to flip. Or actually, he's going to roll his eyes and say, it's everywhere. Because they are a car dealer, they will make you feel so bad about your vehicle that you're going to question yourself. Well, we already did research on as to what our car was worth. And so they came back and they offered us, first of all, before he said anything, he came in, he goes, I don't know who your person was. You must have given them money under the table. And right then I was appalled because, first of all, I don't do that. And then he goes on, he goes, you have a lot of stuff going on, this, and this. And I said, excuse me? I said, I was just at the mechanics, and he was the one who explained a few things to us. And what you're saying is insane, is untrue. He goes, no, he's telling you a lie. He goes, I can't be sure to trust him. I said, I've been down this road before. So I said, give us a trade-in value, and we'll discuss this car. So we knew what the price was for their asking price on this vehicle. And of course, no car dealer wants to wiggle worm, mess with the pricing because they want the top dollar. Well, you know what? When I trade in a car that I know the value of it, I want that price too. So they came back at $2,500. I said, are you kidding? I said, that car is worth a lot more than that. And of course, the salesperson now is saying, well, there's a lot of work that we're going to have to do with it to make it go on the road because of that problem. And I said, you know what? I know how much it's going to cost to get it on the road. That's number one. I said, we're choosing not to do that. Number two, what your other doohickey friend there is saying is untrue. He goes, well, we can't be sure to trust your mechanic either. I said, well, your job is to make us feel bad about our car. And now, and I said, I've been with my mechanic for a long time. He's worked on my kids' cars. He has been honest from day one and has not led us astray. And he was going on, and I said, how can I trust you with your vehicle? I said, first of all, he did not have time to put our rig up on a lift to actually confirm what he's saying. Because if he did, I want to see what he's talking about. Because my mechanic will show me anything I ask. That's integrity, and that's somebody who will take the time to do things right. Now, the salesperson's buddy who does the test driving, he did not do the job completely. His job, their job, is to make a sale. All right? So they'll give you a deal on your end, but they're not going to give you a deal on there. And you know what? Even though I questioned some things that I wanted taken care of, they were trying to make it look bad on my end. So they were cutting me down. And I told the salesman, I said, you need to go back and ask him to rethink this. He goes, oh, he's not going to do that. And I said, well, you really need to, because I know our car is worth it. He goes, well, how much were you thinking of getting? I said, well, between 4 and 6. And I said, I know it's worth. And I said, and at this point, if he doesn't come back with 4, we want 6. And so he came back. He goes, he's not going to do it. I told you he wouldn't. I said, no problem. Have a nice day. Both my husband and I got up and left. And he goes, well, there's nothing we can do. I said, I don't want to hear your excuses. The thing is, he did not take the time to look at our car, number one. All he did was he insulted me, he insulted my husband, and he insulted my mechanic that I've had for years. And somebody who does that, a company that does that, is a company I don't want to buy my car from. Because how can I trust them on what they promise they'll do to take care of your car? How can I trust them? Well, let me tell you, I've gone through this route before with other dealers. One dealer I got my Jeep from years back. I was at their facility for a good couple of months, every single week, until they fixed everything wrong with that car that they told me was good. After that, they never sold me a car that had issues. And we haven't decided if we're going to go back there for what we need here. But and then when I got my Honda, I had to sell my Jeep, because that got to the point similar to my husband's, where it's like, first of all, it wasn't getting the greatest mileage. But I found a Honda Accord that I like, 44 miles per gallon, and it's like, I'm okay with that. But it's our good car. This is why my husband wants a new vehicle. Plus we tow a trailer and we bring lumber home when we have to work on things. So when they told us this today, or the other day, I said, no. I said, we're not going to play that game. You guys, you do what you got to do. And they'll sell that vehicle. We don't know how fast, but they'll sell it, because they've overpriced that. I'll be honest with you. As I look at the things that needed to be done, I was going to ask for new tires. And but no, we haven't decided what we're going to do. But what I'm bringing this back to is, you kind of get what you pay for. Now, the dealer will cheat you. There are some good dealers out there, and there are some liars out there. Now, he was going to cheat us on 2 levels. There were some things that needed to be done to this other car that we were going to put in stipulations, and we didn't even tell them yet. That I told David, I said, I'm not going to work with a dishonest salesperson, and I'm not going to do that. They have a sign that says, we work with integrity, and the young lad told us, this is the first time I've been able to work somewhere where I can sleep well at night. I hope he slept well at night, because we won't do that. Now, when I work with people, I'm honest. I'm going to just say, now see, I'm still working on this. Hopefully I'll be done soon, because this is tedious and boring. But when you work on things, it takes time. Some things in life do require us to take things apart and put things back together. And that's with a used vehicle, it's with garments, and it's also when you want to repurpose something. Now, do I have to do this with the elastic? No, I'm choosing to. But like I said, the work that's going into this is not for a consumer. This one's for me. Now, I will probably make scrunchies for other people, because I don't know about those of you who do wear them. They do wear out after a while, which is why I need to make some. And it's just, I wear them all the time because it's a loose and it doesn't pull on my hair. And that's why I wear them. I do have the other kind of hair ties, but I like these better. So where I'm getting at is, we need, one of the things that one of the quilters I listen to is, a lot of times people might come to us and ask us, could you make a quilt, or could you make a pillow as a memory, and all this kind of stuff. And we want to help them. And so we will give them a price. And that works out great. You know, in some cases it does. The first time I made a memory pillows, I told the girl, I said, this is the first time I'm making them, but this is what I'll charge you. And then, of course, her mom came in and she wanted some too. But she already knew the price I shared with her daughter, so I was kind of like in a bind. And I decided, you know, I'm just going to do them. They'll get their pillows, not a problem. But typically I would charge a lot more than what I did. I was doing it as a courtesy, and, you know, so that being said, what's under the table is under the table. But what I have learned over time is that, and I've learned it in my business, is I am a nice person. I'm a very giving person. I love to give to other people. But what I've also learned is this nice look, the sweet person that you might see or you might talk to, doesn't like to be taken advantage of. And she also doesn't like to be insulted. And when you say that my time is not worth what I charge, I want to ask you, if I went to your job and said, you're not worth that, you should only charge half that. When you have bills to pay, you have insurance to pay, well, especially in today's time, you have utilities to pay. Do you really think it's fair to tell somebody who has worked their life honing in on a skill that you're looking to reap rewards from, reap the benefits? I want to do things for people, but when I sew for them, I want to give them something that they will appreciate. You know, and hopefully share with others. And I used to get tons of referrals, which is great. So, but it's actually kind of nice to be retired from this, because now I can say no. And part of the reason I started the thoughts of retiring was the number of people that would shop around for somebody who would charge less, and then never call me and tell me, hey, I'm not coming. Because you see, when you hire somebody, anybody in small business, it could be my massage therapist, my mechanic, any of us. If you do not show up for a time slot that they've scheduled you for, they've lost money. They have to raise their rates. They have to rethink things. So it's really important. Or they might not see you anymore. Because that's what a lot of us do. If you don't show up, we're not going to see you. And sadly, I had to do that with an individual. I was going to do something for him. He called and I said, I just want you to know I am retired, but I don't mind doing this. But I said, but call me if you can't make it. Give me 24 hours so I'm not sitting here waiting for you. And he did call like a couple of hours before. And he goes, okay, I'm going to be there on Tuesday if that works for you. I said, Tuesday's fine. And unfortunately, I didn't say morning, noon, or night. I assumed 5 o'clock. But still, we had things that we were doing around the house, so I didn't really care. Well, he never showed up. I said, okay. But the pickup date would be Thursday. Again, he never showed up. I got a call on Friday saying, hey, I want to know if I can come by and drop it off. I never answered him. And it's not typical of me not to call people back. I will call people back. But when somebody mistreated me, and that's what it is, he disrespected me. Other people have done that too. And I told him up front, part of the reason I retired was because of people doing this to me. I don't owe him an explanation. On his message, he didn't even apologize. Am I hurt? Nope. But I'll tell you one thing I won't do is I won't run to make friends. I won't run to have a certain person care for me, or a mechanic, or whatever service it is that I'm in need for. I'm not going to jump over hoops just for you to serve me if I'm paying you money, because I will respect you and your time. Now, when it comes to me, I want the same thing in return. So you see, I don't chase after people anymore. I used to. When I was first in it, I would call and I would try to work around things. I did things on the weekends, and oh my goodness, so much of my family life was uprooted. And it took me a little bit, and then I stopped the weekends. I said no more. And I'll be honest with you, I love sewing. I love creating. I love repurposing, because I just like making sure that things continue to get used. We're almost there. No, seriously, I don't think you would want to pay for this. So I was working on this an hour before. I'm into it another half hour talking to you. So I'm trying to make an example of how things take time. And you might see things on YouTube where a lot of people are rushing through. And part of the reason I won't show you step by step in action is, first of all, that's going to take a lot of tech support and a lot of tech time. And, you know, being retired, I want to have fun. I love being on YouTube. I really do. So I will show you steps in a different way. Like I will show you this is step 1, step 2. But I'm not going to sit there at the sewing machine and doing time warps, because I don't have somebody that I can hire and do all my videography. I don't have that. And there's nothing wrong with those that do have that. A lot of people, some of the people that I watch on some areas, not on crafting, that's what they do have. They have a partner who does the videography, or they have a child who helps in their field. And so that's awesome. But other people have people they hire to do this. I don't. And I don't have the advanced technology. I don't have the right camera equipment. So I'm doing with what I have while sharing what I love. And I do love the herbs that I talk about. I love everything I've learned. And there's something I'm researching for my husband right now, because he was prescribed some medicine that he just, within 24 hours, he was having a hard time with. He couldn't sleep. And I told him, I said, oh, that's the medicine. And I said, that's a side effect. I said, didn't you ask him about the side effects? He goes, yeah, but he told me most people can tolerate them. I said, that's the answer you get from all physicians. I said, you need to ask them to show you so you can decide for yourself, you know, if you want to take that risk. So sadly, he doesn't want to be on that medicine. But the first medicine he was given was once a day. This new one he has to take twice a day. Why wasn't he given the first medicine? Another problem we have in America, the insurance company rules the doctor. So the doctor wasn't able to prescribe what he felt would be most appropriate for my husband. So he had to give him something else. The insurance said, we'll cover this. Well, if it's going to make my husband sick, then is that the appropriate thing to do? So I gave him some ideas. I gave him some literature of where I was coming from. And I said, you can do whatever you want. So I do want to put something together for him so that he can take it with the allergies, because we think it's related to work, because we're all exposed to chemicals no matter where we are. And, sometimes you go into a store, you can smell the fumes. But, so I have to work on that for him. And no, I'm not ready to share the stuff I use. Last night I recommended one thing, and he slept better. And I can't share any of this right now because I'm talking about sewing. But what I'm saying is, we're not ditching the physician who is trying to help my husband. My husband actually needs the help, because he likes breathing. Go figure. But we will get the answer, and if I can't figure it out, we might go to a holistic doctor, and he might find that what I come up with works great. So he is doing one thing that I told him. I said, take this twice a day, and the days that you work, and then the following day after your shift. So he took it last night, and I asked him today at lunch, I said, how you feeling? He goes, actually pretty good, and I slept much better. He slept really good last night, trust me. I don't know if he knows it, but he was snoring. He doesn't snore that much, folks. Once in a while he does. But if he's dealing with asthma type things, that's usually when he snores. So we got to get that under control so I can have a restful night. What do you think? So getting back to repurposing. When you ask somebody to work with you or you're buying product from them, yes, it's going to be more expensive than what you can get at some retail establishments. But you might see that, well, they're using a product from them. Well, yeah, to get to the end product that you want. You see, people are in business to make money. And even though some are doing a side hustle, because even being retired, I can make a few dollars. Not a lot, but I can make a few dollars. And I don't want you to consider me as grandma sitting in a rocker doing this for you with the joy in my heart, taking 10 hours and charging you 10, because that would not be fair. And I feel what's really interesting, I do hope that this is not coming across as complaintive, because that's not what I'm doing. Because I don't have a problem with you not using my services if you don't want to pay for it. That's okay. Like I said, I don't chase for customers. I don't chase for friends. I don't chase for healthcare. I don't chase for nothing anymore. I used to. I'm always trying to be nice. And I will always be nice. I will always be respectful. But if you can't respect me and my time, then I just say no. And I'm good with that. I'm comfortable with that. So what am I going to do with this elastic if I ever get it done? I think I'm almost there, guys. No, I'm not. I got about 15 inches to go. So what kind of things am I working on? One of the things I'm going to be working on is those 2 tote bags. I'll get those done. I'm going to be making scrunchies. And I have some fabric I picked up a couple years ago, prior to a couple years ago. I don't like saying the word. The world crisis. Now, I giggle about that, and I know that might offend some people. I don't mean to offend you. It's just that if I don't laugh, I'll get discouraged. And I don't want to be discouraged because you know what? I found me again. And that's the person that finds humor in silly things. And that is, okay, people's lives, their health is not silly. But the craziness of what's being told to us, that I will share in another video, is going to make people's heads spin. But, I mean, I don't know if many people know of it yet. I read it on a medical group that's not on Facebook. And I'm like, ooh, that's not going to go over very big. But who knows? Maybe it will. Maybe it'll make a difference. And I sure hope so. Because I would like to see unity back in this country. And I don't know. So, how many of you have upcoming elections this next week? We have local elections coming up in preparation for the primary. So we have that coming up next week. So I got to go and do my voting duty there. And my husband will have my car that day, so I may have to walk over there, which is not the end of the world. And usually it's not very crowded anyway. A lot of people don't go to these particular primaries. They'll go to the November 8th one, but they don't always go to the local ones. And if your town has a local preliminary before the primary, please consider going. Whatever choices whatever is important to you. And I'm not going to share my preference because I don't think it's your business and it's not my job to say how you should vote. You need to make sure you do your research, decide what you want, and don't be swayed by those who are telling you negative things about other people of the opposite party. So if you have candidate D, Democrat, and candidate R for Republican, one of them saying horrible things about the other, dig a little deeper. Find out the truth. Because as I find in life, people like to cover themselves and say, hey, that's going to happen, but we're going to make it better. How are you going to make it better? And those are the questions we need to be asking. We really shouldn't be listening to people at the pulpit, people that have preferences over you, that could control you. You need to understand that you have a right to your choice. But when you make that choice, be very, very careful to choose wisely. So I hope that if you have some preliminary, primary type voting going on this Tuesday, or wherever it might be in your state, that you make an informed decision, do some research, and go out. So here in New Hampshire, ours is Tuesday, or at least in our town. Oh, I think I'm not almost done. So what kinds of things can you do with leftover fabric? Now this particular thing I'm stealing the elastic from. Normally I don't steal the elastic from used items. The reason I don't generally is because it's all worn out. But this has a lot of life in it. I've stretched it, I've done all kinds of stuff, and it's going to work out perfect for scrunchies. And it's not too stiff. And the other fabric is still okay to use as a backing for these little placemats that I want to do. So some other things that I am doing with my retirement, I'm having fun. I'm working hard. I really am. Between the garden, the herbs, the studies, and yes, you're never too old to keep studying, and I'm studying on herbs and essential oils, but mostly on the herbs right now. And so it's exciting for me, all the different things that I can do, what I can make, all that kind of stuff. It's very exciting. But I also want to make sure that I'm making time to be creative, because that's a big part of who I am. So, and the other thing that I want to do that you may not know about me, if you went to high school with me, you'll know, if you've gone to church with me, you'll know, is I play a flute. And I haven't played it in a while. I didn't play it much soon after Lyme disease diagnosis because I just didn't have the energy. But I have it. What I did was when I was cleaning things up, I think I misplaced the music. So once I find that, I'll be back. I actually might order some because there's some new music that I want to play. And you can get music that has accompaniment CDs and stuff. So that's what I plan on doing because I love music. I can't tell you how much I love music. Music was my healing. It's just a gift. For those of you who love music, to actually play or sing brings joy. Or to dance. I like all three. I like dancing, I like singing, and I love playing the flute. I actually played saxophone in high school. I picked one up used before, and then I wasn't using it enough. Had my daughter play it for a while, and she just didn't have the interest that I was hoping she would have. So I ended up giving it away, and I don't know if that person still plays it or not. I hope so. But I've thought about going back to get an alto sax again, because that's the one that I played. And how I got into that was I wanted to be in the stage band so bad. And our music director, he was awesome. He was also the gentleman who gave me away at my wedding. But anyways, he said, Laura, I'll let you be in stage band. You know, because they play more fun, funky music and stuff like that, right? But they didn't use flute a lot. So he said, if you pick up another instrument that works with us, I'll let you learn. I'll let you be in the band. And I said, oh dear, what can I use? He goes, the sax has the same fingerings. I said, really? He goes, yeah, why don't you give it a try? I had so much fun. I did learn to play it. I still think I love the sweet sound of a flute. I think it's very therapeutic. Someday I would like to get a wooden flute. Until then, I just want to get my flute back out. So you see, there's a lot of interest that being retired allows me the time to manage my time to do things. But in doing it, you know, if I put some things on Etsy, you know, I can't compete with some people. But let's see, do I have scissors here? No. Well, anyways, I got the elastic done. This will all go into the trash because I don't keep what I can't use. All right. I get rid of the junk. Now, could I put it as a stuffing to something? Probably, but I'm not going to, because one of the things that I'm trying to do is I'm so excited this is done. Thank you for letting me chat while I did that. One of the things I'm trying to do is use up what I have. Now, if I don't, I may consider making some small little, I don't know if I have one right here. I make little placemats, more like a tea cozy, like a coffee cozy, where it's small and you can fit your coffee mug and maybe some biscuits or cookies or something off to the side. So I might make a few of those with this. I don't know. There might not be enough to do that because you do need quite a length to do a scrunchie. You actually do. You need 5-inch by like 22 inches at least. So I might be able to make those little tiny placemats. And those are really nice for like in an office if you want to do something like that as a gift, because in an office setting, a lot of people might have coffee. Even in a home office, they might have coffee and a few cookies or snacks or something like that beside them. And so that's just kind of quaint, and my daughter might like that. Now, if she watches this, I'm in trouble. She'll know. Not really. But they always know what I'm making them. You know what I did a long time ago? Yeah, I changed gears, sorry. What I did a long time ago is I am very careful about what I give my kids for gifts, because I don't want my kids to get something that they won't use. So what I do is just say, hey, I'm making this. Is this something of interest for you? And if it is, it's great, because like those towels that replace paper towels, they loved them last year. And I didn't give them a lot, but they said I could really use more. Every 3 to 4 years, I give them new memory foam pillows, because they need to be replaced from time to time. I'm sure it's coming up on that time again. But that's the only gift they get, because it's expensive. But then again, I make things all the time. So there's things that I make them, but I make sure, like I'll say, this is what I'm making. Can you give me some feedback as to whether or not you would like it? You know, they all got therapy neck pillows because they liked them. And I will show those at some point, because I got a few others that that I have available that can be sold. And we use them for under our knees, under our ankles when you have to elevate something. We use them behind our neck and so forth. So they're fabulous. So I have a few left. And but that's what I do, is I ask them, is this something that you would use? And if so, then I will go and find the fabrics that they would enjoy. Because I pretty much have learned what kind of fabrics, what colors they like and they enjoy. So like one daughter is very bright, very floral, and very awakening. Then I have another who likes purples, deep purples and blacks, and maybe some orange in there. So yes, think Halloween. She likes that stuff. And I'm okay with that, because you know what? If I make her something, I want her to have joy with it. And then I have another one who's very earthy. Although all our kids are earthy, Dave and I are earthy, she likes the sage greens, the burnt oranges, and stuff like that. And so that's what I gear towards. When I see a color, I'm like, that's the color. And I know. And so far I've had pretty good luck. Sometimes they say, no, I don't like this. Because you know what? Our tastes change over time. So, well, I'm not going to keep chatting. I got my project done in front of you, and I know it was just taking elastic out, but that explains why some things take long. Taking the elastic out of a sheet. It's good elastic. So if you ask somebody, could you take this out and reuse it? Well, sure they can, but they can't cut it out. They have to actually take a seam ripper and take them out. So it took me 1.5 hours to 2 hours to do that. Are you willing to pay them for that? Or is it something that you could do ahead of time to save their time in making you what you're trying to do with that elastic or the fabric or whatever it is that you're trying to do? So that was kind of the focus of what I'm talking about. Just basically value the time of the people that you need to hire to do a service for you. Value that. Respect them. And know that we all want to be here together, but we can't chase after you if you don't want to pay us either. So, but I will share ideas as I can, most especially for those of you that can't afford to pay somebody, no matter how low or high their hourly rate is. Just know that, you know, a lot of us who are sharing tips and stuff, we want you to be able to make things on your own. But if you can't, you know, that's what we're here for. You may find that, oh, I really like that service. And another thing is, as time goes on, you may find that there are people willing to barter services. I'm willing to barter services, but it has to be services that each of us can benefit from. Meaning, if you have something that I don't want, there was a person, maybe 6 years ago, who I purchased a painting from. I did. And I really liked it. And then I did some photography and stuff, and she took one of my photos and she painted a replica of it. And so she needed some alteration work, and she asked, she goes, I would like to give this to you in exchange for, and it's like, but I don't want that. And it's not that her skills were not good. It's just that that was not something I needed. So if you decide that, you know what, I could barter. Yes, you can barter. What kind of skills do you have? And what are you willing to give and share in exchange? Because I think as time goes on, you'll find people doing more bartering than they have in the past. So this has been an hour of chit chat and all that kind of stuff. And I hope it's given some thought, and I will be back with those scrunchies to show you how they turned out. Have a great day, and may God bless you.